just want me to say Alani? Like,
I'm
hey
gonna just
guys,
say,
my name's...
yeah, just introduce yourself. I don't know. When someone says introduce yourself, what do you say?
Hi, I'm Alani. Nice to meet you.
Bruh.
They will look at your mom and look at you
Right.
like, I can't do anything to help her. What is up, you guys? It is your girl Makenzie, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, hey girl, welcome to the party, and if you're returning, welcome back. As you can see, we have a very special guest with us in the building. This is the first person who has ever been featured on my channel, so I want you guys to give a very warm welcome to my best friend Alani. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a PWI versus HBCU video, and basically what we've done is we've each come up with 4 questions on our own. The other person does not know the questions, just to compare and contrast and see whose school is better.
Mine.
Period. No, but really, this video is just going to be to help high school seniors or juniors who are trying to decide and getting ready for college and they don't know whether to go a HBCU route or a PWI route. And I'm sorry, we didn't break it down for you, but a PWI stands for a predominantly white institution, and a HBCU stands for a historically black college or university. Yep. So first things first, before we get into the video, I do want to know that we are both class of 2020 graduates. We just graduated this past May, so we know a little something about college, just a little bit.
Well, hello everyone. I am Alani, and I graduated from the unsinkable Albany State University, the home of the Golden Rams, one of the best HBCUs in Southern Georgia.
Okay, and as you guys all know, my name is Makenzie, and I just graduated from the University of West Georgia. I was a mass communications major and a sociology minor. Okay, so I'm going to start it off. The first question I have for you will be, what would you consider the biggest disadvantage and one advantage to attending an HBCU versus a predominantly white institution?
One advantage of attending an HBCU is definitely getting in tune with your culture, getting in tune with learning your history more. You're definitely surrounded by a group of individuals that are kind of like-minded. You're surrounded by intelligent, smart, not only black women, but also black men that have goals and that they aim to go somewhere in life. And I feel like at HBCUs, you just have a lot of support around that, around the African American culture, around inspiring African Americans to reach for goals and achieve greatness. One disadvantage I would say about attending an HBCU, dang, I mean, I don't think we really have any
Girl, every school got a disadvantage.
We do. I mean, other than okay, this is a real disadvantage that
we
some
were
people talk
honest
about
on this channel, so I want the truth.
So I feel like one disadvantage, I don't know yet because obviously we recently just graduated, but one disadvantage may be that because you graduated from an HBCU, I feel like sometimes we don't get as much respect, especially when maybe looking for jobs or
That's good.
talking to, like, you know, other people. Like when people say, well, what school did you graduate from, and I proudly say Albany State University, somebody may look down upon me because I went to a historically black college. And then so, but that disadvantage is a reason why it's important to support these colleges and rep your school.
Period.
Okay, so my first question for Makenzie is, do you feel like your educational needs were met considering the large classroom sizes?
Okay, good questions. I'm going to say yes, because I'm a mass comm major, as we know, but you don't get into your major classes at most universities or colleges until you hit your junior year or your senior year. So freshman year, I had classrooms that were as big as, 200 students in a lecture hall, but I find that, not that I don't need those classes, because you do need your prerequisites, your English, your math, your sciences, but I found that once I got into my major classes, the class sizes shrunk. So most of the times my classes were only about 20 to 30 students versus freshman year, they were about 200 students. Well, I feel like the main knowledge that I need for my career, as far as how to shoot, how to I want to be a news reporter for you guys that don't know, but how to write news packages, how to film B-roll, how to edit, those classes were smaller, so I got more hands-on experience with the professors versus in astronomy class. I mean, how often am I gonna need to know astronomy, you know, or use that in my field of study? So to answer your question, I would say yes, class sizes were larger your freshman and your sophomore year, but once you do get into your major classes, they do shrink down, and so the connection and the one-on-one is definitely more intimate with your professors.
Okay. Follow-up question.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so do you feel like your professors were supportive, like all of them? Like, if you look back at throughout your entire 4 years, like, do you feel like all your professors were just genuinely always there to help you, and not just you, but like other students in your classes?
So as far as in that, I'm going to say no, because that is one thing that I have heard, that at HBCU, your professors are your best friends. They're in your corner, they're supporting you. But I can definitely say that at a PWI, it's easy to get lost in the sauce. It's really easy because your professor, although your class is 30 students, have, I don't know, 4 or 5 classes. So, you know, all those students, it's kind of hard to get that one-on-one time. So that is a disadvantage, and I definitely do think that I missed out on forming relationships with professors and faculty members. I sometimes question, you know, if I did go to a HBCU, and I know you guys have, you know, white professors,
right?
But if I did go to a HBCU and all my professors were mainly, you know, black, would my relationships be different? And I think it would be, yes. So the next question we're both going to answer, because I want you guys to see the differences between someone who attends a PWI and someone who attends a HBCU. But the question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how rigorous or how difficult did you feel like your class load or your work was throughout your college experience?
So the difficulty of classes from freshman year to obviously graduating as a senior, I would say that freshman year, I would just say no class is easy, right? I mean, I don't think no class is just you get the grade. You still have to put in the work, but definitely freshman year from senior year, it's a big difference, because as you know, in college you start off with, you know, just regular, you know, math, prereqs that everybody's gonna take. English 1, English 2, history. So the same stuff you kind of went through in high school, it's the same thing. So freshman year was kind of a breeze for me. Like, you know, all A's, all, you know. And then the years, as you continue on, it gets harder and harder and harder, because as you move on, you should be taking classes that are in your program or in your major. And so I majored in biology, and I would say any science major, any mathematical major, it's tough. Nursing for sure is tough. So my classes, I will say my rigor began to start even sophomore year, like right after freshman year. Freshman year was a breeze for me, but then sophomore year, I started taking higher levels of math, like calculus. I started taking higher levels of chemistry and physics, a lot of science classes, a lot of rigorous classes that required more studying and more active studying and actually knowing what you're doing, and not just, okay, it's multiple choice. And in college, definitely there was no multiple choice test. For the most part, it's fill in the blank. You know, you really have to know your stuff. So I will say that as the years went on, it's way more rigorous, because you're trying to achieve a goal. You're trying to become this professional that you're seeking to be. So your classes are getting harder because you're becoming in your major, but it's definitely not impossible. I will say though, I took summer classes at Kennesaw State University, which is a PWI. And I'll say that definitely the rigor in those science classes versus at Albany State, it was way tougher. And that's just honest. It was way tougher. It was way harder for me. Like, I would struggle, and I would study every night. Faithfully, I studied every night for all my tests and my quizzes that I had. And some tests I would still make a C or B on the test, and I'm thinking, I just know I was gonna get an A. I definitely will say, yeah, it's harder. The tests are harder. I think the teachers aren't as repetitive. So like, you know, at Kennesaw, if we were going through a lesson or we were going through notes, it's kind of like they don't repeat themselves. It's just you go through the lecture, and if you have questions, you ask questions. But like, I was scared to ask the professors at KSU anything. Like, they kind of just expect you to just
know it, to get it.
Because you know how, okay, let's say you took biology 1,
yeah, and
so now you're in microbiology. So they just figure you already took biology 1, 2, 3, whatever. You should know this information already. And so even if you need a refresher, because you haven't taken it since freshman year, they still don't care. So I will say that I feel like at HBCUs the professors are a little bit more supportive, but some would say, and I do agree, some professors will kind of hold your hand a little bit.
Okay.
And that may not help you if you're seeking graduate school or medical school, or you're trying to achieve other goals. So it's kind of like, okay, the classes are rigorous, however the teachers help you and they may let some stuff slide, but then at a PWI, when it's just strict and it's straightforward, that may help you in the long run.
So for me, I definitely would say that the work was tough, but in my opinion, I feel like we went to a high school that was tough. Like we went to a magnet high school.
See what I'm saying? Okay,
and so
we were a little bit more prepared.
Yeah, I think that your high school really prepares you for college. So I feel like I had all the tools graduating from the school that we graduated from to enter college. So I feel like I was ready for it. Overall, I feel like the difficulty level within your courses depends on your major.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to say that since I was a mass comm major, I slept through all my classes, I skipped, half the semester, and I still graduated with a 3.7. I definitely had to put in the work, especially in my production classes, in my major classes. But I found myself not struggling as much as some of my friends who were science majors or were math majors, just because it's a different type of work. I'm a sociology minor, so I didn't have many tests. All I wrote was papers. I'm a mass comm major, so I didn't do, science problems and math problems. I went out and I put videos together, or I put together documentaries.
Right.
So it's definitely hard for probably you to put together a video, but I could not see myself doing science problems all day in a lab mixing chemicals.
Yeah. No.
So I think difficulty level definitely does depend on what your major is.
Yeah.
Definitely. The next question that I have for Alani is, what was your experience with certain administrative offices? And let me elaborate on this before you answer it. So I'm talking about financial aid, your advising offices, things like that, because a lot of stereotypes at HBCUs are there, very disorganized. Their communication is definitely lacking, and they need to do better as far as in being professional. So what is your experiences with those offices on your campus?
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. Even though with my t-shirt on, I don't want them to come find me.
They're gonna take your diploma?
Yeah, they're not gonna send me my degree anymore. But I will say that is a stereotype that is true. And I'm just being honest, like, it is true. I will say I had a couple of, not run-ins, that's bad when you say run-ins, but I've had a couple unpleasant experiences with definitely the financial aid department. I wouldn't say advising. Advising is pretty good for the most part, because advising, you go straight through whoever your advisor is, and it's kind of like a more one-on-one communication. You send an email, you get an appointment, and then boom, there you are. I will say though, back to financial aid is really, they just drag their feet. Like, you would just think, like, I know you're at work from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. I know you have put in these people's paperwork. I know you put in these people's paperwork. I feel like they do. I feel like they drag their feet. And granted, I'm not on the other side of the office door, so I'm unaware of all the policies and all the things that they have to do to get all these students their financial aid. So of course I don't know all they have to do throughout the day, but I do know that there is some type of way that they can move a little bit quicker and be more proactive with things. I think they wait till the last minute, and then at some point they start to really just deflect calls. They start to just deflect everything on you. Well, you didn't send in your this. You didn't send in your form. You didn't send in your whatever. And the form is right here on the phone. Yeah. I would say, whatever you do though, if you're like an incoming freshman, don't call your mom. Don't call your aunt or your grandma on the phone and, try to get them to talk to financial aid, because they can't do anything. All they're going to tell you is, well, did your grandma, did your aunt or your mom sign this form?
To release the records?
Thank you. Okay? And so even if your mom gets on the phone and she's like, whoop the whoop, whoop, and you're going to get my baby's aid, no, it's baby, you still gonna be in number 100 out of 1,000 in the line back there. So I will say the thing about that is just to be patient with financial aid. Eventually everything usually turns around for you. Your classes may get dropped in the process, but they're gonna add them back. And it just know it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. And I will say for advising, like I said, advising with your teachers is kind of one-on-one. So we didn't really have any problems with that. But I will say with advising, stay on top of your own track for your major. Ooh. Because I will say sometimes advisors, you gotta think they talk to all these different students throughout the day.
Graduating a semester late.
They will. And so, and that's just not at HBCUs, but everywhere. But make sure you're on track with your own credits. Your own credits, your classes you need to take. Do not depend solely on an advisor or what the school is telling you, because they could not keep up. And they may tell you something and it may change, and then you may have to take extra classes, extra credits. And like Makenzie said, you won't graduate, you won't do all the things you anticipated on doing. So yeah, but definitely financial aid, it's a bust.
You just in college, you just have to stay on top of what you have to stay on. It is so different from high school, where your mom can just go up in the office and get stuff done like this. Yeah, like they will look at your mom and look at you like, I can't do anything to help her. You are your biggest help in college. Yeah. So you just have to stay on top of your track, stay on top of your classes, make sure that you're taking the classes that you need to take, because if you can't graduate but a semester later, your advisor is just going to be like, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Right. You just gotta graduate late.
That's all they're gonna say. So definitely stay on top of it and be proactive.
Yes.
Like already know before next semester what you need to do for financial aid. And also at HBCUs, they put these financial aid signs out in front of like the buildings, letting you know that your FAFSA is due this date or this date. Do it, because the sooner you kind of act on it, the sooner they may want to act on it. On that.
I know.
I know you give me hints.
I know you're talking about. It's definitely what's that song?
I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the greatest sorority.
You need a rough draft to make a masterpiece.